as the song made famous by the legendary Nina Simone says, it's a new day, it's a new dawn, and I am feeling good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jasiri, the home of courageous women having bold, insightful, intelligent, honest conversations. Welcome to the show, ladies.
I was going to say, honey, you should have sung that song.
Exactly. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
And I'm feeling good.
There's that bass. It's when the bass is the beat drop.
When that bass hits, yo.
There's something about it.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. We're going to have a very serious conversation today. We just needed to start it off a little light, but we will have to get into the more serious topics that are affecting us in this country. One of which being the hike in fuel prices. We're going to talk about how that's affecting everyone's lives in very significant ways. But just to give us a soft launch into the episode, let me ask us a question. If you could have a superpower, any superpower in the world, what would it be and what would you use it for?
We
Ladies,
have two superpowers.
No,
one. But it can be any one. What would it be?
Which is priority?
What she's thinking, Lolo.
This is priority. I think I like to be able to read people's minds.
Ooh.
Okay,
why? Yeah, why and what would you use it for?
Hiding your money.
It's not about hiding your money. I think there are some people's minds you will open, you will read, you'll be like, I wish I didn't know.
I cannot see this views,
but sometimes sometimes I just used to sit down and wonder what people think about. Because imagine if our lives could play out like TV.
There's so many way better people.
Our thoughts, there's so many people you would avoid.
Yeah.
Imagine someone like saying, "Oh, Annie," and I just saw the TV, and he has a dagger. I'm gonna kill you and destroy you.
Well, we'd definitely be better people, I think. Because if you knew people knew what you think.
Have you decided now?
Yes, I've decided.
What's your superpower?
I want to fly.
I had a superpower.
Come on.
Just everything I want. I bought it in my head. So everything I want
You
is
get
just
everything
coming.
you want.
You're just a
I love that. I love it.
Listen. Oh God.
You always get everything you want.
It would be so
As you
smart.
think it, you see it.
I had two, but I said that one was what,
So let's take one. So if we have time, we'll give you small.
My superpower, you people are even nice. I want to be able to slap people upside the head and be invisible when I do it. The power is wrapped up into one. Funny enough, I asked Corey this question yesterday. She wants the power of teleportation. She wants to just be on the couch and end up in her bed. I say you're lazy. But my power comes with the power of teleportation, being invisible and slapping people upside the head. Do you know where I will show up?
Please tell us why.
I will show up in the National Assembly. You'll just be seeing senators be like, as they're about to vote wrongly, you'll just say, pa!
But you know,
if I am the Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit will be working through me.
But I will be the one that will be doing the work of the Holy Spirit, because if I can read your mind, I can change your mind.
Okay,
I will just look at you and
no, it's a slap.
You just sign the policy. The VAP Act. The VAP Act.
It'll do something
I'll
like
give you 13.
They're about to do
500 subsections.
Yeah.
Anybody that looks at a woman wrongly, 13 years imprisonment. Anyone that tells them 13
years to sign the wrong thing, you just get
wait. No.
We shall correct right away.
You know that they said there's a category of slap for Yoruba people. Agbara, Kidika, Iko, like the knock on the head, the Agbara, where it's a slap that different types of, different types of sorry, ma. Agbara. Sorry. That different types of slaps resect your brain. That is the kind of thing that we need in the National Assembly. I'm not advocating violence. Remember, this is if you had.
Yes.
If you just hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
Completely hypothetical. Completely hypothetical. Do you want to know what mine would be?
Yes,
so
we have to ask you.
Now I'm going to come and spoil it for you people. But I'll tell you why. I would be able to control time. He who controls time controls life. Yes.
In what way? Going back?
Oh, yeah.
Knowing how to change the course or going back?
But the thing is, you know that I would Thanos this entire country in a snap. Are you joking? I will go back to the places and the times where certain people were born.
And rip them out of their mother's womb.
That's all.
No, wow, Lolo, what's going on?
What's going on? Why are you so violent?
No, I just say rip.
No,
that means they can
modify.
menstruate them out.
Where did we Annie, just continue. Just status quo. Please just continue. You were saying?
I don't even know what I was saying.
If you could turn out the world.
You know what? I would go back in time and stop you from saying that.
Wow. But you know that every time you change something in the past,
Something else
you're going to
happens.
change the entire course of history.
Yeah, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't want the entire course of Nigeria's.
But if you're going to Thanos us, that means you're going to decimate half the earth. That's what you're going to eventually
She'll be
do.
specific about
whole cruel
wait. She'll be specific
All
about
the Avengers will be gone. I'm one of the Avengers.
Listen, guys.
I don't know why I do this with Lola. I'm okay.
You are sitting on
Blessing
seat.
That's the problem.
So of course.
Oh, so this is what.
You're the butt of all my...
Yeah, that's the problem. And she was counting. She said it's 2 days.
But wait, go back to this. I like this Thanos
hypothetical
conversation.
Yes. So we would
You
just
would Thanos the earth.
yes,
No,
I would
Nigeria.
Thanos Nigeria first and foremost because look, I was asking someone yesterday.
Explain Thanos it first of all.
So you know the thing with the end game where he had all the rings and in a snap of his finger
that's
he
it.
reset everything. Listen, if you control time, you control life, you control everyone, you control everything.
Okay.
We can go back in time to the places where people were making certain decisions, not the decisions themselves, the things that happened to them that made them have the kind of mind to make that decision.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's going far long.
Oh, way back.
Back to
way,
Lord Lugard.
way back. Way
Lord
back.
Lugard.
Even
Or
before
back to
Lord
when
Lugard.
they
back.
named
So would the
Nigeria
missionaries-
Nigeria.
No, she said
Way
even
back.
further. Would the missionaries ever have landed in Nigeria?
Way
If you could
back.
Thanos?
Way
You know
back.
what? I might even go back to slavery. Think about it. I said
So
this.
we
I said
wouldn't
this
have
one.
the song Swing Low,
Sweet chariot.
What would that
You know
song
what?
be?
I would give up
carry
swing low, sweet chariot for the generational trauma and mental slavery that Africans exhibit even till today. They can have the song. We can have like our actual confidence and identity. I'll take that over a
see?
song.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Take
So
that
I
over.
want that song.
This is a conversation that I still want to slap people upside the head. I've wanted that superpower for a very, very long time because Lola says she wants to see what people like. Look at the reasoning, how you arrive at certain decisions. My own is I need to reset the course.
people feel the
After
pain.
you've done, there needs to be
Feel the pain.
there are too many people. We need to reset course because Nigeria has gone so far
left.
off track.
Right now, I just want to remove myself and put myself in my world of utopia and just
Catherine wants to live in Aladdin.
You know what?
And just-
No, she just wants to think
and the
it
person
and
said
see.
he
No,
doesn't
she
have
wants
any
a
hope.
genie in a bottle.
Yeah, he literally
Aladdin.
said, I don't have
need, like
any
Lola
hope
does
for
this,
Nigeria.
Let it go, let it go.
So you go to Frozen and be frozen.
I just want to let it go. Okay, so guys, after the break, we're going to dive into the impact of fuel prices.
You see,
on
we were
Nigeria's
smiling. Now you want us to
economy.
frown.
Yeah, this is reality, guys. This is our reality. So for decades, fuel subsidies were a key part of Nigeria's economic policy aimed at keeping fuel prices affordable for citizens. However, the removal, or should we say the reduction of these subsidies has caused prices to rise, leading to both economic challenges and opportunities for reform. Now, the conversation coming up after this is that. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the show. Now, join the conversation on our various social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. Today, we are examining a critical issue affecting Nigeria's economy and its citizens, the high cost of fuel. Let's look at how this impacts everyday life, particularly in light of recent developments involving the sale of locally produced petrol. Fuel prices have played a critical role in Nigeria's economy, influencing various sectors due to the country's dependency on oil, both as a major export and a source of domestic energy. Nigeria is one of the largest oil producers in Africa, but despite this, the fluctuation in global fuel prices and domestic policies surrounding fuel subsidies can significantly affect its economy. Changes in fuel price impact transportation, production costs, inflation, government revenue, and overall economic stability.
And the recent hike in the fuel prices has sent shockwaves through the Nigerian economy, with its ripple effects being felt mostly and acutely by everyday citizens, particularly those at the grassroots level. For many Nigerians who already struggle to make ends meet, this increase has added yet another burden, impacting everything from transportation to the cost of basic goods and services, including food. And since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn into office, we've seen the fuel rise from 195 naira to 557 naira, then 617 naira. Now we're at a staggering 858 naira. It is important to note that these prices are dependent on where you are in the country, and many Nigerians, in fact, pay higher than the set pump price. Joining us to navigate through this is the online banker. He's called Stanley Onuorah. You're very welcome to Jasiri.
Thank you.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
And a little birdie told us it's what? Your birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stanley. Happy birthday to you.
Namaste.
Let's have some fun before this conversation.
Thank you.
You're
welcome
welcome
to the show.
You know, one of the first questions we tend to ask guests is, you're a Nigerian.
Yes, I am.
How are you?
How
are you?
Tolu asked me why.
Honest answer.
You need to settle down and answer that question.
Yeah.
As a Nigerian at the moment, the typical slogan is God Day.
It is well.
Yeah. And as an Igbo man, that's actually my Igbo name, Chukudi, say God Day. So every time I leave out that, I say, okay, God Day. Yeah, so that's it.
He's with us. Let's go.
Well, we hope that truly, one day we won't have to say God Day. Check out my bars, yo.
Hopefully soon.
Hello, you have the first question.
Oh, how do I?
Well,
She's
okay, let's rescue Lolo quickly. In his inaugural speech as Nigeria's 5th president in the 4th Republic, Bola Ahmed Tinubu said there was no provision for subsidy in the national budget and it would have to go. And just like that, things got significantly harder for Nigerians, and that happened immediately. While we know that Buhari's administration was the one that did not make budgetary provisions for subsidies past June last year, what has been the impact of the supposed, and there's a reason we say supposed because there's some information about the subsidy, but what has been the impact of this removal of the fuel subsidy from then till now?
So what we saw at the removal of fuel subsidy over the announcement, when the announcement was made, was the immediate hike in prices. So Nigerians being who they are, like every business person, the first thing that you need to do is to make sure that when you make a sale, that you can restock. So everyone had to adjust to the new prices, pending what was going to come about. And that sent the ripple effect. Fuel, the transportation system in Nigeria is greatly affected by petrol. We do not have rails, and we do not have alternatives like in other nations, where it would have been a lot easier for the citizenry to say, okay, I'm not going to take a bus, I'm not going to take my car, I'll just go with the train. Maybe you already have like trains run by electricity or by other alternative means of energy. But what that did was that it sent food prices up, it sent cost of goods generally up, and that's had a ripple effect. So one of the things that they did was they removed fuel subsidy, as at the same time they removed the subsidy on FX. So it was a double whammy. It was like it's okay, you're removing fuel subsidy and then you're removing the subsidy, which was eventually the floating that was done. And what that did was the foreign exchange affects fuel because we used to import. Thankfully to Alhaji, now we're producing locally. What I did was that because when you import it in dollars.
Yes.
And then the subsidy was removed on dollars. At the same time, the subsidy, in quotes, was removed on petrol. So that was double jeopardy. And that's why we saw what happened in the economy in the past 1 year. Inflation reaching as high as 40% for food.
Yes.
So
So Annie said supposed, because we've seen a lot of back and forth in recent times involving independent petroleum marketers, the government, that there's subsidy, there's no subsidy, and now some acknowledgement that there's some level of, where do we stand? Do we know how much subsidy? Do we know what level of subsidy? Do we know where the subsidy is applied on the importation of petroleum value chain? Who's feeling the subsidy? Because I don't think Nigerians feel that there's a subsidy applied to what they're buying.
So the government was held at I would say they were held by the jugular, because they had announced the removal of fuel subsidy, and they couldn't come back to say, oh, subsidy was back. So they had to use a technical means to, downplay the subsidy that was being paid. And that was higher than subsidy that was paid over the past years. It was double the figure. And when we say fuel subsidy came back, petrol, you would ask yourself, petrol price, and when the subsidy on the dollar was removed, which was actually floating, like everyone knows, when it was removed, where the naira went to as high as 600, 700 naira, but then it got to 900, and we're still buying petrol at the same price.
Yeah.
So if you check it, it really doesn't make sense. And then naira went to 1,002, and then 1,003, and then 1,005, and it's as 1.6.
Yeah.
As at last month, we're still buying as around 6, depending on what part of the country that you're in, and you're still buying around 6. So effectively, there was someone paying for the difference. So that difference that was being paid was being subsidized by the government.
So let's look at the purchasing power of Nigerians. If you want to, I always say this, if you want to plot a graph of, because that's the clearest way, it's like an X-ray, is the clearest way to understand whether we're making progress or we're deteriorating. So let's take a look at the purchasing power of Nigerians on a steady, let's say for the past, between the last government and now, how has the purchasing power of the average Nigeria been?
So, I do not envy Nigerians at the moment, and we are not being envied across Africa, and it's not supposed to be so, because truly, when we say giants of Africa, we are really the giants of Africa, but the reality isn't telling that. Now, our purchasing power had to depreciate for us to, in reality, subsidy needed to go.
Yes.
In reality, subsidy needed to go. We needed to take out the subsidy on the FX. But when you are putting this, where the government went ahead of itself, was they were coming into an administration and they needed a bit of time to have put things in place, but they shot the gun too early.
So you mean that Tinubu could have come in and asked for a supplementary budget to even take subsidy for maybe another 4 or 5 months to be able to plan for it?
Yes. And then you don't remove subsidy without... So what you should have done was, any economist to tell you that, from the World Bank down to the International Monetary Fund and everyone, even like local economists, will just tell you subsidy needed to go. But what was the palliative that was going to be brought in? Lagos has the Blue Rail that was launched after, then the CNG buses that are supposed to be coming, CNG conversion buses, that's the compressed natural gas that is supposed to come in for citizenry. So let me use a typical example, like I explained some of the time too, when this came up. Just imagine that the government took out 3 months to roll out policies. We have local manufacturers of cars in Nigeria. So we have Innocent, we have Nord, we have even the local assembly of manufacturing. I think Nissan, and then one other. If you had come to these people and said, okay, you know what? Produce CNG buses for us. And then you're rolling out CNG buses that are saying for every state worker, for every teacher, for secondary schools, you have CNG buses. And it's going to be capped at 200 naira. If you want, you can stay in line and enter this. And it's rolled out across states. When the removal of subsidy had come, if you're going to drop your car, if you're not going to enter your tricycle, if you're not going to enter whatever means of transportation that you're using to move around, and you had that alternative, maybe it might have been crowded and a little painful, but you had that. So you had that rolled out across the state, and then you were now removing subsidy. People could see where, and then when the subsidy in quote was removed, the savings that came in where did it go?
Yes, because we were
That's a
told
huge
that there were
question.
like, I think 1 trillion naira worth of savings. And
Savings,
where has the savings gone?
Also, NNPCL seems to be in debt. So
Catherine asked about purchasing power, but we also need to look at small and medium businesses. They're the bedrock of what Nigeria does. And earlier this month, the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria said that from January 2023 to June 2024, a staggering 20% of businesses in the country were forced to shut down. With an estimated 40 million small businesses, that equals about 8 million businesses. Also add this to what they said in December of last year, that no fewer than 10 million small businesses under the association had shut down in the entire year. So when you look at how businesses have coped, because this is also around the time that we had this electricity tariff was also removed. Yeah. So there has just been a hit. And it's not a good hit. The way we talk about musical hits,
like
this has just been a hit back to back for Nigerians. How do you think the impact has been for small businesses in particular that employ the most Nigerians aside from agriculture across the country?
So for most businesses that rely, so if you check the sectors that employ the most people in Nigeria, you start off with the agricultural sector, and agriculture has been greatly impacted by insecurity, especially from across the north. And that has had its effect. Now, the cost of inputs, that's something that people do not check. Now, in the agricultural sector, I'm going to start from agric and then move into finished goods. From the agricultural sector, you will notice that the cost of inputs, if a typical farmer now comes into, tells you that he wants to farm, I can tell you that because I've done the farming business. I want to have 1 acre of land or 10 acres of land. Now, before I employ labor, they are going to tell me that the price of fuel that he used to come to work has gone up. Now, then the cost of inputs has to go up because whoever is selling has, adjacent his cost that has gone up. So the cost generally had gone up. So people that were for every crop, you're budgeting 115 naira per ridge or something when you were if you're cultivating yam, it has gone up to maybe 300 or 500. And then by the time you check that, you needed to bring security costs into that. At the end, the food, that's one of the things that add up to the food inflation. Now, the food prices have gone up. Now, you come down to finished goods. Most of what we have, if we're sitting on this table, are imported. Now, our purchasing power had depreciated from around 600 down to 1,500. And then we had import duty that was being charged by, by customs and all that. By the time you put all those costs into perspective, for most businesses, what most businesses do is that they don't charge you based on the current price of the dollar. They charge you based on what they anticipated. So if the value of the naira is at 1,600, they're going to estimate that this could go as high as 1,800. So that I would need to charge
a buffer for them.
Yes, so that I can restock because I'm buying from either China and then maybe because customer might just say we'll increase our duty too. Now, a container costs, 40-feet container costed about 8 million naira a few months ago.
To clear?
To clear. Now it's about 14 million.
To clear.
To clear. Yeah, so that's why you see cars. That's why you see cars. A car as old as the 2005 Corolla that was around, it was 1.5 million, 2 million, is around 7 million.
7 million now.
7 million naira now. That's a car that people used to. I remember buying this car they used to call the big light, single light. That was sometime in 2014. I think I bought that car. I bought it for my friend for 850,000 naira. Now that car should go for, the Nigerian used version of the car should go for as high as almost 4 million naira now.
Oh wow.
And then you want to get that same car, a 2001 version. You will get it for as high as almost 6 to 7 million naira now.
Wow.
So these are the antenna costs.
That's exorbitant.
It is. And that's when you say, so you check out, and this costs haven't increased in dollar terms or in foreign exchange. It's just the value and how our cost structure
works,
has been set up.
Wow, I'm listening to you and I'm watching how, we've been reeling out how things have progressed in the last couple of years. And now we have a major controversy that everybody is talking about because this is the first of its kind. It's the very first time that Nigeria can boast that one of us has a refinery that is working. I grew up to hear about refineries. Do you know that since I was young, I've always heard about Nigerians' refineries not working.
Yeah.
But I know they are there. But I've never heard of a time in my own lifetime, and I know I'm not a young girl. That means it hasn't been working in aeons.
Wow.
Anyway, the controversy I'm talking about is the one that is between Dangote Refinery and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. There's been a lot of talk. Nigerians are tired. Honestly, last week during the week when we're doing our back and forth about the week's discussion, we had posted on our general page that, thank God, the refinery will now start to, we'll start to get products from Dangote Refinery, only for us to wake up the next day and we have to send another flyer that no, NNPC has, Dangote has distanced itself from this particular controversy. So, and there has been a lot of, it's going to happen. There's been the president has been saying things like by October, we're going to get lower fuel prices. These two key players, they're the biggest in the country. We rely on them. At least NNPC has the lowest pump price presently.
Yeah.
So now that these Dangote indices in, can you walk us through these dynamics? Because for the layman out there, they don't understand.
And they don't care.
They don't care.
Want to be able
We
to
just
afford
want to be
fuel.
able to buy fuel.
Yeah, that's it.
Drive into a fuel station and just
And not have to wait for
purchase.
7 hours to buy fuel at cutthroat prices. It's just,
And even the mighty that used to enter Ubers and boats have had to control themselves.
Okay, so what has happened with Dangote Refinery? Kudos to him. Across my page on social media, I frequently just give him the credence that he deserves. Now we've not had energy sufficiency in terms of petrol for the past 30 years. We've not had our refineries. The turnaround maintenance that we say, the monies that are being spent on all the GNFCG came out the other time and said before the end of Buhari administration that the refineries were going to be up. He came out and gave Port Harcourt Refinery were going to be up and all that.
They've moved the date for that 3 times this year.
For now, it's indefinite. Dangote has come to the rescue. But now, with Dangote on board, there's a lot of, say, there's a political side to it, and then there's the business angle to it. So I don't know politics, so I would stick to the business side.
Yes.
Now, the business side of it is that you have Dangote at the moment buying, when he was being supplied crude oil, which is what he uses for his, for his refinery to produce our aviation fuel, AGO, which is diesel, and other derivatives that come out from that. Now, he had to buy that in dollar terms. And now, even NNPC are saying, okay, we're selling back to you. We bought this in dollars, so we're going to convert the money in dollars and sell to you. So our problem is actually the exchange rates.
But wait, isn't this for the first batch?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So as of October, the government has agreed it is a swap that's supposed to be done in Naira terms. That's supposed to take effect in October. Supposed to be. So now, I use that word because there are technicalities that needs to be sorted out from now till then. Now, NNPC is the sole, according to the PIA, is the sole
regulator.
Yes, no, so supposed to be sole buyer of petrol into Nigeria, and they have the determined prices. Dangote doesn't determine the price of petrol that comes into. It's not fully deregulated. AJ is fully deregulated. That's diesel is fully deregulated. That's why we don't have this issue that we have with diesel. If you notice, nobody talks about diesel because it's fully deregulated. But because it's not, PMS is not fully deregulated, there's that whole angle to the control mechanism that NNPC is coming to play at it. But why Dangote Refinery is really important in the country is that there are derivatives from the fractional distillation of, of crude oil. You get things that it's just a huge money
Tires,
saver.
plastics.
I
think styrofoam, but we've banned styrofoam in Lagos.
Vaseline, lubricants, and these are the things that Nigeria spent millions and millions of dollars importing. So that's supposed to remove the pressure on the dollar.
So this shouldn't just be a focus on the fact that he's now refining crude, but also the derivatives that he can push into the economy as well.
But one of the things that that we are seeing that is not being spoken about is that before now, those places, that business was running, there was those imports into the country. With Dangote coming upstream and being able to, have this import substitution, what happens to those companies?
Yes.
And do those companies go without a fight?
No. So I want you to hold on because there's a question about monopoly.
Yes.
Yeah. Because oftentimes the criticism of Dangote as a conglomerate also comes into the conversation around monopoly.
Yes.
So please hold on. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at this and as well as the October 1st announcement that's coming. And then MBS says our inflation has gone down. We need to touch on that as well. Stay with us. Welcome back to Jasiri, and today's conversation is how fuel prices impact Nigeria's economy. Our guest today is known as the online banker. He's a banker and he's breaking things down for us. Now, Stanley, right before the break, I did mention we'll get into the monopoly conversation. But before that, when I look at this whole situation of a single player being able to build a refinery in how many years, where we as a country, it's a very shameful thing we need to tell ourselves. Have not been able to turn around and maintain four prominent refineries, two in Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna, or even build new ones. And then one single person comes in. And what I see is a lot of us making Dangote Refinery the savior for Nigeria's petroleum issues. Should he really, I know you applaud him, a lot of people do, but should he really be wearing the savior toga? Not that he's wearing it, we've put it on him. Isn't that again a reflection of the shameful nature of our governance?
So for people like Dangote are needed in every economy. So in the US, for example, you had the likes of Carnegie, the
Barons.
They had the courage to build, the steel that the US that brought up the industrialization up there. Dangote is our own version. Now, what the government has refused to do, Dangote's model is very simple. He goes for what you cannot do without. There's a video that I made. I said his model is very simple, yet very complicated for you as the average player.
Also,
He
do you
goes.
mind explaining that?
Yeah. So let me. Like I always tell people, calm down. Let me explain. That. So when he goes, so he takes salt, for example, or he takes cement. He says, okay, the basic human needs are food, shelter, clothing. Transportation is part of it now. So he goes into those things that at every time in your life you cannot do without Dangote. So he's in your kitchen in salt, he's in your house in form of cement. Yes. Right now he's in your cars in petrol.
Fuel.
So in fuel. But he goes into it in the biggest way possible that you cannot compete. Oh, wow. That way he eliminates competition. It's not a monopoly that he's trying to create. He's just trying to limit. Every businessman will strive for the greatest monopoly.
Yeah,
so
the biggest market share.
You ladies have beautiful hair here, and if you were selling hair, for example, and then you say you want as many people to patronize you as possible. If everybody could just come through you, you would love it. But if you were to go into that in the biggest way possible, that it's impossible for people not to go through you, you would achieve that. And that's what he does. So he just limits competition.
But that's like defining monopoly.
Yeah, exactly. That is a monopoly. And doesn't that pose the threat of, because for me, it's a quality issue. If I don't have any competition, then I determine what the standard is. Nobody else can. Do you see what I mean?
So we have our rules as a country, that ensures fair play.
Yeah.
How that is being,
played out.
Exactly.
Being implemented
is a different conversation.
Is a different conversation.
Exactly.
But one of the things that we do not see is that we really do see challenges that are, that are fit to, to that.
Rise to the challenge.
I say, okay, this person is in the same capacity. Why are you not allowing him thrive? So if you then bring that into play, you have things like the Boa Cement, for example, in the cement section. He's doing well. And they might have their occasional rifts at times, which any businessman or this thing would. But they still thrive. So why at the stage, if refining petrol was such a lucrative business, and state governments find that they can make so much money. Just imagine that in your state, all the cars that run, all the tricycles that run, all the generators that run, the money comes to you as a state government. Why didn't they build refineries?
There are, theories.
They need my superpower of a slap upside the head.
That people are benefiting from the dysfunction in the country. I don't think it's because people like Nigeria cannot make these refineries work. It's because the system has been set up to benefit from the dysfunction. It's just that it's a smaller percent of people that benefit at the cost of the masses.
Because I'm worried, now you have a Dangote on stream. Do you think we're going to have impetus to even attempt to try to turn around the other refineries, the government's own refineries, or even attempt to build a new one completely? Because I feel like as a country, we're simply losing motivation for it, and we're going to put everything on Dangote.
Okay, so I want you to listen to some of his interviews, which I read and which I've listened to extensively, and there's something he says. He said something like that the cabals he has had to fight
in this industry.
In this industry is greater than anything he has ever fought all his life. He keeps mentioning that he's grown grey in the space of a number of years as opposed to all the businesses that he has run. That tells you the steep competition, the steep resistance that he's facing at the moment. So why don't the people, if he's trying, and he says that he has fought them and he would win. That's what he says, and he's going to win. If that works for us, it means that if that conspiracy theory that we've always had, that the people that do not want this thing to work, the refineries to work, then they should come back and set up their own this thing and form a form of competition. And eventually, that's good for us. When MTN was selling a SIM card for 50,000 naira when it came in, and then Glo came with the second billing, they were forced to move. So we want more players to come into the...
You think that they would take that bait? Because
don't answer that question yet. And you know what, he talked about that. We talked about it. Yes. I've been a journalist in Nigeria for almost 20 years now. I've never heard Dangote himself talk so much in the space of weeks. I've never seen so many press releases from any of his businesses, so much in the span of the past 3 months because of, I guess people would say, the cabals and things going on. But when we come back from the break, we take on what the NNPC has said. In their statement, they said that the estimated price of PMS in Lagos is going to be around 950 naira and 22 kobo, while those in Borno states might pay around 1,000 naira, 1,019 naira, and those beyond around Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna, and FCT might be paying around 999 naira per liter. When we come back, Stanley is going to answer a very important question. We're in September. October is almost here. What do we expect with PMS when October comes? Stay with us. Stanley is taking the heat behind the scenes on the table because the ladies do not want to agree. But you made a very important point earlier, and that's the initial feedstock that Dangote got was priced in dollars. So this initial that's coming out, that I think they said about 858.
Yeah.
Luckily, on Monday, I paid 600 and something. Today, all the filling stations I've seen, 800 and something.
Yeah, of course.
Even though I'm not sure how many of them have actually received the Dangote fuel. But we know that October the 1st is when we're expecting to hear from the President's Technical Subcommittee on Naira-based crude sales to local refineries. So looking at that, with what the NNPC released, I think was yesterday or over the weekend, regarding how much we should expect PMS to be across the country until around October, what is your expectation when we do get the Naira-denominated crude oil to Dangote and he's able to sell that stock out? What should we be expecting when the all-important decision is made in October?
So still, we do not know what the pricing is going to be. You know why? When I say we don't know what the pricing is going to be, I haven't seen I don't know the modality of the swap and how it's going to be. What we should realize is, if we're going to be sending crude to Dangote, that means effectively we have reduced amount that we're supposed to send out that we have used to earn foreign exchange. So that's a form of give and take that the government is trying to do to be able to cushion the effect right now. But we don't know what the pricing will be. Well, we expect it to be lower. We shouldn't all get very excited in the short term, because things might not be significantly different.
You're
But
breaking
in the
my
long
heart.
term,
Like,
in the long term,
I can see the
right about
you're breaking my heart.
when I say
Open
the
your
short
mouth
term,
and talk clearly.
when I say the short term is that this effect that we are feeling now, if things do get better, and I use the word if things do get better, like from the estimation that we have is Dangote is supposed to come down with a number of products across, Dangote is supposed to come down with a number of products from his refinery. You know, you have urea, you have lubricants, you have propylene, you have aviation fuel, you have all those things that we would generally have taken out money out of Nigeria. Now, when you take out that pressure that goes to our foreign exchange, it means that you are now going to have a lot more exports from people like Dangote, and then a lot more savings. Now, I am cautious because Nigeria being what it is, we haven't had this in a number of years. If we have the savings, what it does is that it reduces that pressure, and we expect the Naira to appreciate. And once the Naira appreciates, every one of us here are going to feel it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
In
I'm
a
gonna
good
ask you
way. I need you to emphasize in a good way or a bad way.
Because the thing is, it's nice to hear that, but people have suffered so much in the past, I don't know, 400 and something odd days, that we need more specific hope. It's not enough just to hope that things are going to get better. So with the announcement on October 1st, we're expecting that prices should come down, even though you said you don't know to what extent.
Yes.
My question is this: how soon will that affect, or how soon will it
The ripple
reverse the economic hardship that we're going through?
So
in terms of brass tacks, so brass tacks, like come down to the basics that people
Plus equals minus plus equals.
Okay, so you always give a time frame. When economists say short term, medium term, and long term, they have like time frames that they work with, and it's because the time frame for increasing. I'll always use an analogy that a lot of people can. Before, when you want to add weight, you don't do it overnight. You do it over a period. And then when you want to lose the weight, you don't do it overnight. You know,
And it's harder than when you were adding
yeah,
weight.
exactly. That's why
delicious.
That's why the prices don't come down as fast. You know, because it goes up, and then so if let's use this beautiful cup for example.
Right.
If I bought the cup for 1,500, and then my cost was 1,300, and now things have gotten better, and I'm going to buy this cup next at 1,000 naira. I wouldn't be too hasty, especially in Nigeria, to reduce my price, because Nigeria being what it is. I made a video the last time and I told them, everybody be cautious, so you don't expect business people to just, because you see, business people, you people increase the prices, and
like
when the prices come down and you don't reduce
bring them back down.
It's not that way. They need to be able to check, okay, we've lived in Nigeria, we've done business in Nigeria for a number of years, and we know that things are not as the government promises sometimes. So if they didn't watch, and then over a period, say 6 months, so after the first 3 months, oh, okay, prices have come down, and they've remained stable for the next 3 months. Okay, I've reduced my price to 1,100. This man has reduced it to 1,000 naira. You that you've left yours at 1,500, you're forced to reduce your price. Either you're cutting your losses and trying to come down, or you're going to just get stuck at not make sales. So eventually that then cuts across board, and then we start to feel the impact.
Okay.
But we need sustainability in policies that the people can hold on to. Businesses do not have at the moment what they can hold on to. You cannot tell the business person that the government has said this will happen and he will stick by it.
And you can't blame them.
Yeah.
And you can't
Now
blame
that and the MBS is telling us that the inflation is has slowed down. Are we supposed to be jubilating? Because October seems to be holding a lot of. We're holding on to it.
Holding our breath.
For it. And now, truly, but the news would be better if we were already feeling it in our pockets. Just like you explained in clear terms, I understand it. And I know a lot of our listeners probably get it because you broke it down. That even though they said inflation has gone down, by whatever percentage they do, you economics do it. When will my pocket
Feel it.
feel it?
2 months of easy inflation.
The MBS figure is, the headline inflations that we have. It's, food is a major factor.
Yes.
And what we've had is that there's harvest at the moment. So with the harvest, prices of, if you bought a tuber of yam, when I bought a
Who's
tuber
still buying a tuber?
well, it has come down now.
It has come
It
down
has come down now because there's harvest.
Yeah.
So we
So
need.
should we now harvest the harvest and harvest is in our
So now, so now, because there is harvest of a lot of produce in the country, what it has done is that there's now there's availability. So you're selling, so the prices has dropped. The price have dropped.
So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
confused about this
well,
price
I
drop
bought-
thing because you mentioned if the economy stabilizes, then competition comes down. And well, is it just based on conscience? I'm just going to say, okay, this thing I sold for 10,000, now I'm going to sell it for 5. Why?
Okay, so what
You know what I'm- you see what I'm saying?
there's
Yeah.
a mix. There's a mix when it comes to this. There's a mix in the economy. One, we say food is a major driver of inflation in Nigeria. Food it's estimated that Nigerians spend about 60% of their money on food.
I think about 70%. Yeah.
Yeah. So if the food price comes down, it means now there's availability
Disposable-
of
more disposable
income for you to buy other items. Now, when there's more harvest, that's why we talk about security. I made a video and I said that if we can fix security, a lot of the issues that we have would naturally come down, because the farmers that are not farming, and then would I have the fuel side as well? We're already talking about
The bad roads.
And even with the bad,
storage.
we've had bad roads. We had storage problems.
Issues, yeah.
But if the cost of transportation were to be reduced, cost of inputs, which are affected by petrol and the rest, and then the security of farmers, there are more farmers, and now there's the cost of moving around, the cost of input has dropped. Those two alone bring down
A big equation.
But
Stanley, they're playing our music.
Thank you so much for
playing our
staying with us,
music.
but we have to go now. We would love to continue this conversation, but we have to go. Thank you, Stanley Onuorah, for taking us through this conversation. Many of us are waiting for October 1st. We're waiting with bated breath. Hopefully, we hear the things that we need to hear, because Nigerians do need a reprieve from all the hardship that we have faced. And hopefully that will come. So fingers crossed. Let's wait for October 1st. For now, we've got to go because time is fast spent. Thank you for spending this time with us. We will see you all again tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Happy birthday, Stanley.